Any idea? Any rough guesses?
Uh, Plotting the data set in a form of graph.
Plotting the data set in form of graph. Right. Perfectly said. And okay, any other guesses? So you are right. Visualization is plotting the data on the graph. Okay. But do you think we really why do you think we need the visualization?
For analysis of data, uh, to
Okay.
check the interesting points in the data.
Okay. So let me tell you easy insights, right? So and how many of you think that Tableau is a data visualization software?
Yes, no.
How many of you think that okay, data visualization Tableau is a data visualization software? Please say yes or no.
Yes.
No, exactly. Tableau is not a data visualization software. So we discussed two set of lines here. So I'll tell you first of all that why understanding this phenomenon is required, because you know whatever we do, okay, uh, so whatever we study in this course as well now is more comes from the application part. Okay, we are doing the analysis, we are understanding the data, we are doing the things with the data, and we are applying the Bayesian tools on the data, right? But the most important thing is that whatever we do, how we can generate the insights from that learnings. Okay, that's where the data visualization comes in, okay, to generate the insights. So how to generate the insights? We simply what we do, uh, god made our brain in such a way that we are more receptive to the visuals as compared to the text. Okay, so if you want to understand, the simple thing is why visualization is good and preferred everywhere, no matter in which industry you are, whatever you are doing. Okay, in at least in the today's world, all the data has been discussed with the superior or with the customers in with the help of dashboards. Are you aware with the term dashboards? Anyone who is not familiar with the word dashboard, right? So in today's world, at least, uh, no doubt in which industry you are, whatever you are doing, most of the insights has been discussed with the superior, with the mentors, with the customers, with the colleagues in terms of dashboard. Why? Because our brain is more receptive to the dashboard, and we can easily understand the graphs compared to the data. Okay. So there are many examples. Suppose on a screen there are many digits are written, and someone asks you how many eights are there. Okay, you will not able to find out. But if I highlight those eights in the whole data, then you can easily count. So I'm not going to the theory that why visualization is important and required in this lecture, but uh, it is pretty easy to understand that okay, visualization is a very great thing, okay, which can help us to demonstrate our data in a better way. Now there is another term called business intelligence. Okay. Is anyone aware what is business intelligence? In the research, it is called research intelligence. But this W is a business intelligence, also, not the data visualization. Now, anyone aware what is business intelligence? Can anyone please tell me what is business intelligence? हाँ अमित आप बता सकते हैं प्लीज व्हाट इज बी
Sir, tools that helps to create the visualizations.
नो दिस इज नॉट बी Business intelligence is more related with the insights that we generate, and visualization is more related with just plotting the data. Okay. So do you think just plotting the data can solve all the issues?
No, even collecting the data and cleaning the data, that is all required in that thing.
Right. So suppose if data has been given to you, that any data, okay, on one row there is A B C D are written, on the another data there are some names of the persons are, okay, and if you give the any software the command even to the Excel will plot the graph, and that is the data visualization. But do you really think that insights will help you? No, it will not. Okay. So because that insight cannot help us, that's why the most important thing is to understand what is data. Okay. All the things comes later on. Okay. Whatever we are doing, we are applying machine learning, deep learning. Okay, for all these applications, we need data. And understanding the data, that okay, what are the types of data on which we are working, will help us to decide okay, what kind of analysis can be done in the future. That's why understanding the type of data is the most important and most crucial aspect. If you do not aware that okay, what kind of data is this and from where it is coming, then you might end up with the wrong analysis. Right? So that's why in the whole story of the data visualization, making the dashboard is the easiest part. Though the final output is the dashboard, okay, but making those dashboards are the easiest part. What is the difficult part is understanding of the data and to find out that okay, what we should plot. Most important thing. Plotting is easy, but finding out that okay, what we can plot is difficult. We have a small screen, is small dashboard where we can only make 5-6 charts. Okay. Now, which 5-6 chart is most important, most crucial, which will replicate the whole picturization of the business? Finding out those graphs is the most important. And how we can find out those graphs? With the help of data. Okay. So I'm saying it again. Though the final output is the dashboard, but our dashboard is depend on the criteria within which we have collected the data. So that's why data collection and understanding of the data is become the most important part, so that the final dashboard which is required for our specific business purpose can be made. And I'm believing that no one has the doubt that okay, why there is a need of data visualization in this kind of code. The need is because whatever we are doing, okay, we need to present the findings to the customer or to the client. Okay. And most of the clients or the customer will not eventually understand the differential equations or the integrations or the results in terms of text. So what is required? The final results has to be published in terms of dashboard. That's why we are studying this. But to start understanding the dashboard and the data visualization, the first thing that we need to understand is what is data. So कोई मुझे बता सकता है in the class that what is data and what are the types of data?
So raw facts and figures, that's
Right? Right? Raw facts and figures are the data.
yeah.
Any other definition? Any rough definition? If anyone can provide. Let me also share the slides by the time. कोई और बता सकता है? Anyone?
Observations is also, we can say, that is data we are collecting every time. It's
Right? Right? Right. Perfect. And does anyone know what are the types of data?
Different type of data like qualitative data, quantitative data, and also in terms of like structured data, semi-structured. So
Right. Right. So we need to understand first that what are the types of data, because okay, I can let me put it in the different way. Mean, if there are a date, if suppose product ID of multiple products has been given, okay? एक किसी प्रोडक्ट का प्रोडक्ट आईडी है 1 2 3, अनदर प्रोडक्ट 2 3 4 5 6 7 10 10 10 20 11, इस तरह से प्रोडक्ट आईडीज आपको गिवन. So do you think mean of those product ID makes any sense?
No,
No?
no, sir, no.
Why? If we calculate the mean, then mean can be calculated out of those data. Even if you
ID
go
is
and
product ID just give the any particular information about an product. That is, I can say something primary key or unique ID. But if we can do any calculation only on primary key ID, that is numeric only, then I don't
Right.
think any we get any meaningful informations.
Bilkul. So you are right here. So those who do not understand what I'm trying to say, let me share my screen. Let me know when you can see the screen. So you can see the screen.
Yes.
Okay. So actually the thing is that, okay, suppose this is a given data set of any industry, global superstore. This is a superstore data. This data files has a three subfiles: orders, returns, and customers. Okay, so this data has the name of the customers. So these are the name of the customers, and these are the regions from the these customers are coming. So if they are the Central Asia, South Asia, East Africa, Canada, Caribbean. So the regions of the customers. Okay, this is the data of the returns. Okay, so and this is the order ID, and these are the orders which were placed by the customers. So suppose these are the postal code of all the orders. Okay, and these are the quantity for any of number of orders, number of product at any postal code. So here if I calculate the mean of these orders, okay, suppose if I calculate the mean of if I calculate the average of these quantities, okay, then it does make it makes any sense. But if I calculate here average of this postal code, both are digits, but it doesn't make any sense, right? So this is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Now, can anyone please tell me uh, why this is making sense and why this is not making sense in terms of the classification of the data?
Coach, I think, sir, it's first we have to understand that what kind of data it is and what kind of information we can get from this. Without
Right,
understanding the data, we cannot get the right information from that.
right. So this is what I'm trying to implement, that if you directly go for the making the dashboard without understanding the data, then you might end up with the wrong dashboard. Okay. So that's why it is always advised that whenever data has been given to you, then look at the data at least for 1 hour. Okay, understand the data, do some calculations, uh, design a mind map that okay, what graphs can be made out of this data, and then you can make the data. Then you can make the dashboard. Okay, so we'll understand this phenomenon in detail, how it can be done in the industry, how it can be done in the business. But I'm just here because the postal code does not reflect quantity of any item. It is an identity, right? So actually, this is the reason. And how we can decide that? We can decide this based on the type of data. Okay. So to solve this problem, there is a theory of the types of data, or I would say the level of measurement. Okay. There is a theory or classification of the data based on the level of measurement. So based on that classification, we'll find out that I would say the mathematical applications can be applicable for that kind of data. For example, some data can be added but cannot be multiplied, right? So here addition of these quantities will make sense, right? But do you think the multiplication of the quantity will make any sense? You get my point? So here, if I add the quantities of all the products, then it will make sense that okay, this is the total quantity which were ordered. But if I multiply the quantities of all the orders, then it will not make any sense, right? And whenever we go for the dashboard, we first find out that okay, what kind of mathematical calculations can be done for which kind of data. Accordingly, we make the parameters, and then eventually we'll go to for the dashboard. Okay. So this is the complicated part, but let's get going, and let me share the slides from where we can understand this. Okay. So yes, you can see the PPT.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So like, what is data? Although all of you are aware, but I'm just defining data once again here. The data refers to a raw facts, figures, or information collected from the observations, measurements, experiments, surveys, or transactions. Data क्या है? It is a raw facts, figures, or information. Someone already said that. Collected from the observation, measurement, experiment, surveys, and transactions. So data आपके पास आ गया. Now you have the data, and directly you can make the dashboard out of the data. Right? That can be done. You have the data and you can directly make the dashboard, but they will not the right dashboard because you haven't understand the data now. Okay? So for the first thing that is required is understanding of the data. Now how the data can be understood, let's see. So though to reach the visualization, there are many things. We need to understand the data, then we need to understand what is big data, then what is the domain knowledge, then what is analytics. We'll discuss what is analytics, then comes the data science. Okay, and after the data science, then comes the data visualization. The data science, so the probabilistic MLDL somewhere comes here in the data science. Post data science, there is a role of data intelligence. Post data intelligence comes the business intelligence and the research intelligence. Okay, so when we make the dashboard, then with the help of those dashboards, we can predict the future, right? Maybe you make a graph based on the past data, and then you can predict the future based on the past trend of the data. So that is called the business intelligence. So that is one of the example of the business intelligence. I put it right. Okay. So can anyone know what is big data? Can you please tell me?
Big data is collection of huge amount of data over a period of time,
Over a period of time.
over a
So,
long period of time.
so what do you mean by large data?
Uh, like uh, we have our IRCTC websites.
Mhm.
On that, uh, train tickets are booked every second. So
Mhm.
if we collect the data of all train ticket booking, it will be a very large amount of data.
Right, Vishweshwar. So we'll discuss this big data in detail. And you were right. And whatever you were saying right now, उसे बोलते हैं velocity of the data.
Sir, big data, I think, is a different type of data, structured data and non-structured data, collection of both kind of data. And in perspective of data sizing, if we can say that unstructured data is is lot more than in volumes that in structured data, right?
Right.
So both, if somewhere both kind of data is collected, then we can say that this we have a big data.
Right. Right. So actually, some Amar rightly pointed out it is velocity, variety, and volume. Okay. So actually, big data is not only dependent on the volume. Okay. Let me put it in this way. Do you really think we required any advanced software in addition to the Excel to to deal with the data, or why we required softwares other than the Excel to deal with the data? Okay, everyone will agree with me on one point that Excel is the most easy software to use. And if the
Yeah,
data is
but
small, we will always go for the Excel, right?
yeah, Excel has its limitations.
Excel
Cannot
has its limitation. Yeah.
cannot handle a very huge amount of data.
Okay. And what do you think that huge amount could be?
Uh, in GBs or TVs.
In GBs or TVs, right? Okay. So actually, even in the industries, when we need to do some analysis, okay, what we do, we took the sample of the data in the Excel and then we do the analysis. If I want to understand the data, आप लोग भी क्या करते हैं? अगर आपको IRCTC में कोई पैटर्न समझना है, so what you will do, you will maybe take down the 1 hour data आप उस 1 hour डेटा को एक्सेल में इंपोर्ट करेंगे एंड देन यू कैन एनालाइज दैट 1 hour डेटा, राइट, टू लुक एट द बिगर पिक्चर. That's how we do. But that thing, so if we only talk about the volume, okay, but there are two more things with the data, which is velocity and variety. Okay, velocity और variety Excel में handle नहीं हो सकती. Okay? So अगर आपको ऐसा लगता है कि डेटा सिर्फ जीबी या जीबी में सीबी में काफी ज्यादा वॉल्यूम से काफी ज्यादा रोज है, that's why we are switching to the other software than the Excel, then no, this is the half reason. Okay, this is not the full reason. Okay, even those data can be dealt with the Excel, because you know how many number of rows Excel can handle. Yeah, it's 1 million. Umesh rightly pointed out. So around 1 million. So 10 lakh rows can be handled by the Excel. Okay, 10 lakh row Excel में आ सकती है and around 16,000 columns. Okay, 16,000 columns and 10,000 rows. So don't you think that is a big data in the volume?
Not very big.
Yeah, not very big. If you consider, if we see from the IRCT's perspective, then even in 1 hour we are generating maybe 1 crore rows, might be possible.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So that is one aspect. Okay, but if there is a data, okay, I would say, if suppose in a very specific scenario, if there is only 500 rows of the data is being generated by the IRCTC in 1 hour, only 500. Then do you
Mm-hmm.
think those data can be analyzed on the Excel? Suppose in a very
Yeah,
special case, only 500 rows has been generated.
yeah. If there are only 500 rows and the data is structured, it can be analyzed in Excel.
Okay. But it is again difficult because the reason is other two. Okay. What I'm trying to say here, that big data means variety, velocity, and volume. Volume of the data means how big the data is. Variety of the data means different kinds of data has been generated at different times. Okay. Variety of the data means आपके पास सिर्फ maybe there are 1,000 trains. Okay, on 1,000 trains का अलग अलग data generate हो रहा है. Then on the ISRTC app, there is a data of the flights is being also generated. Then the data of the trains is being also generated. Then some trains got delay, some trains did not get delay. Okay. Then the data of the hotels is also on the ISRTC right on these days. So there are variety of the data.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not talking in terms of structured or unstructured data. That is a different kind of discussion. That on that discussion will come when we come to the data science and the types of the data. But what is the variety of the data? Variety of the data means when the data is not of the same type, when multiple types of data is being generated simultaneously. Okay, then this is called the variety of the data. So first thing is volume of the data. Big, जब भी आपको big data के बारे में बात करनी, you need to remember big data means 3V. Okay, what are these 3Vs? Velocity, volume, and variety. Okay, now हम लोगों ने डिस्कस किया what is the volume. Volume is size of the data, megabytes, gigabytes. Okay, so this is the volume of the data. Then what is the variety of the data? Means different types of data is being generated at the same time, and then comes the velocity of the data. Does anyone know what is velocity of the data?
Speed of data coming.
No, it is, not the speed of the data.
Number of transactions.
Actually means how the frequent data is
Right.
updating and how which frequent it is updating in your database or Excel sheet or whatever the software you are going to use.
Right, Amma. Perfect. So the velocity of the data means how fast data is changing itself. Okay, and this is the most crucial thing as far as the ISRT is concerned. Data is again and again updating itself. Okay, आपका एक ट्रेन है, अभी उसमें कितना सीट्स अवेलेबल था, now at the after few times the number of seats available is different, right? There are multiple platforms from where the tickets are getting booked. Okay, so data is being updated itself again and again. When we have this kind of velocity of the data, then in those cases we need to switch to the data science or the other two, because those kinds of dynamic data cannot be dealt with the Excel. Okay, so this is a bit about the big data. Okay, we'll discuss it in more detail when we come there, but first we'll discuss the types of the data. Okay, so yes, data is being divided in basically two types: categorical data and numerical. Now, why this classification is required? Because जब भी आप ग्राफ्स बनाते हैं ना, whenever you make any charts, okay, then you need both categorical data and numerical data. Okay, because number of seats available in one train and the number of seats available in another train, the graph between these two data will not make any good sense, right? Okay, I'm saying in the Rajdhani number 1 the number of seats available are 10, in the Rajdhani number 2 the number of seats available are 20. Then we can plot the graph between them, a frequency chart, okay, or the histogram. But that chart doesn't make any sense. But if we already put the name of the train, okay, the Sampark Kranti 1 and the Sampark Kranti 2, okay, these two trains have this much seats available, then chart will start making sense, right? Now the name of the train is qualitative data. आप समझते हैं qualitative and quantitative data? Whenever we are making graphs, then we need to first identify that, okay, the given data is a qualitative data or the quantitative. Usually we say that qualitative data is the categorical data and quantitative data is the numerical data. Okay. But it doesn't mean categorical data cannot be in terms of number. If the product ID of a product is 3564, okay, then that product ID is in terms of numbers. Okay, but still that is a categorical data. Okay. So to make the any charts, first thing that we required is deciding the data that, okay, the given data is the categorical data or the numerical. So the quantitative data or the categorical data is further divided in two parts: nominal and ordinal. And numerical data is further divided in two parts: discrete and continuous. Okay. We'll discuss this. Okay. So basically, how the data is being divided based on the nature of the data, we have two classifications: qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative data means description, categorical, and non-numerical data. Example: colors, names, gender. So name of your name, my name is a categorical data. Gender, male, female. Okay, name of the colors. Okay, all of those are the qualitative data. And what is the quantitative data? The data which in terms of numerical or measurable. Age, height, salary, etc. All of this data is called the quantitative data. So this is the classification of the data based on the numerical or categorical. This is not very important classification, but very much required when we go and make the charts. Then this is the second classification, which is most important. ठीक है, based on the level of the measurement. आप में से कोई बता सकता है what is the level of measurement? Okay, so let me tell you. You know, there are level of measures like mean, median, mode, standard deviation, variance, t-test, chi-square test, hypothesis test. Are you aware of all of these terms? कभी सुना होगा आप लोगों ने स्टैटिस्टिक्स में, right? So but those chi-square test, t-test, hypothesis test, mean, median, mode, etc., cannot be calculated on all the set of data. Okay, there are some requirements, some specification of the data based on which we have to decide that, okay, what mathematical operators can be applied over there. So that classification of the data is the data based on data classification based on the level of measurement. Okay? So it is basically four types: nominal data, ordinal data, interval data, and ratio data. After understanding all of this data thing, we'll come to the table. Okay. So I already shared the link. Those who haven't started downloaded Tableau, please download Tableau. We will do a hands-on exercise in today's class. Okay. So maybe in the second half, we will have a 2 hours class. After that, we'll have a small break, and after that, we'll do some hands-on on Tableau. Okay. And by the end of the class, if you seriously attend the class, you will able to learn that how to make the dashboard. Okay? So please everyone download the software and start your free trial. So free trial is mainly for the 15 days. You all of you can start your free trial today. Okay, and post that. So you can try, but at least today you can start the free trial so that you can learn with me. Okay. There is a free version of the Tableau is also available, which does not require any license. How to use that Tableau software, that I'll also tell you when we come to the Tableau software. Okay. So when we come to the software, but I'm again requesting everyone please download the software and install it. Okay, and start your trial.
I have downloaded it. What is the Tableau server URL?
Server URL. Server URL means
In the left pane, there is a uh,
you just need to
I
download it and
need
install
to
it.
provide the. Yeah, I have done that. After that, I am trying to open the new project.
Okay. So okay, at that point will come when we open the tablet. Okay, note now. You just now everyone
Okay.
just now download and install in your system. Okay, rest of the thing will do when we come.
Mhm.
Okay. So yes, another
Okay.
classification is nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. Now this classification is based on the level of measurement. Now what is the level of measurement? Level of measurement is means what mathematical parameters can be applied over here. So देखिए nominal data क्या होता है? Nominal data means first of all nominal and ordinal both are the categorical. Okay, so nominal and ordinal both are categorical data. ठीक है? But if data has some sequence, okay, if the data has some sequence, then it is the ordinal data. Otherwise, it is the normal data. Okay, let me explain in the next slide. So suppose this is the data. This data has been given to you. What is given here in the data? The given is the gender male, female, male, female. Okay. Then the name of the newspaper. Then age of the person who is purchasing the newspaper, and then is he satisfied or not satisfied with the newspaper. Okay. This kind of information has been given. Now, can anyone please tell me why these two are the nominal data, why this is ratio data, and why this is the ordinal data? If you remember, otherwise I will explain.
uh, do mathematical operation on ratio like numerical data, that is, and other data is we cannot do any kind of mathematical. Is that what you are asking, sir?
Yeah. This is same. This is same thing I'm saying. So, right. So actually the thing is that, but there is a different perspective to understand is nominal data is data which is not in the numerical form, okay, which is the categorical data, but there is a no sequence of the data, okay, male, female, okay, there is no sequence, okay, either person can be male or the female, but here in the ordinal data there is a order. Okay, so this is the basic difference. Suppose for another example, the name of the months are given. Okay, January, February, March, April. So even if those months are randomly given, okay, in a sheet, then you can arrange those names in a sequence, right? January, February, March, April. Even if the names are randomly given.
Yeah, right. The first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and these are the
Right.
ordinal numbers.
Okay. So actually the data which is although not in the numerical form but can be arranged in an order is called the ordinal data. Okay, but if the data which cannot be arranged in an order, like if suppose there are name of the newspapers are given, okay, so if the name of the newspapers are given, then do you have any way by which you can arrange this newspaper in any sequence except that the alphabetical? No, we cannot. So nominal data means the data which cannot be arranged in any sequence. Okay, but the ordinal data is the data which can be arranged in the sequence. For example, here satisfied, very satisfied, unsatisfied, neutral. Okay, so this can be arranged in the sequence like unsatisfied, neutral, satisfied, very satisfied. Okay, so like sequence can be made in here. So that's why those kind of data is called the ordinal data. Okay, and if the data that can
Like on e-commerce side, we see the star rating, that is 4-star rating,
right,
3-star rating, that's the ordinal.
right, that is the ordinal data.
Right.
Okay, so and you know why it is required to understand this phenomenon, because if the data is nominal, then there are different kinds of charts can be made out of those data. But if the data is ordinal, then a different kind of charts has been made. Okay. If there is ordinal data, you can make the chart with respect to the time. But if the data is nominal, then you cannot make a chart with respect to the time. Okay. Because if you make the nominal data with respect to time, then it will not make any sense. So, and the another aspect is that so basically ratio data, and there is another kind of data which is called interval data. There are two kinds of data. यहाँ पर देखिए लिखा हुआ है nominal and ordinal, interval and ratio. So nominal and ordinal both are the categorical data, ठीक है, and these are the quantitative data. So or we also call this metric data. So interval and ratio both together called the metric data. Now what is the difference between interval data and ratio data? We'll discuss. Okay, down the line. But this is the categorical data and this is the metric data. And what is the difference? Difference is that in the metric data means interval or ratio data, we can apply the mean and we can calculate the standard deviation. Okay. Now this is the most important thing. If you want to calculate the mean of the data, then you can only calculate the mean of metric data. You cannot calculate the mean of nominal data. You can calculate the mean of ordinal data in a very specific scenario, not always. Okay. If there are some conditions, if those conditions are satisfied, then only you can calculate the mean of the ordinal data, but you can always calculate the mean of the metric data and you can never calculate mean of the nominal data. Similarly for the standard deviation. Okay. Now metric data is the combination of the both ratio and interval data. What are the ratio and interval data we'll see. Okay. But this concept has to be clear that okay, when we can calculate the mean and when we can not calculate. In the advanced statistics, we always calculate the mean and then after calculate the mean, we do further analysis. But there are few conditions which tell us that okay, mean can be calculated or mean cannot be calculated. So I'm talking about those conditions. Okay. And how it can be decided? First, we need to decide that the given data is a nominal data or the ordinal data. If the data given is a nominal data, then yes, mean cannot be calculated. Okay. So now why it is required? Metric data is further again divided in two types of data. One is interval data and ratio data. ठीक है? Now interval और ratio data में किसी को difference पता है? What are the difference between interval data and ratio data? Or if you can, by looking at the slides, if you can tell me. कोई बता सकता है the difference between interval data and ratio data?
Interval data is equal amount of time difference, like 1 hour or half hour. And
Not exactly.
data.
Not exactly. Okay, let me explain. So just look at it. So what is nominal data? Categories without any order, religion, blood and group. Ordinal data means categories with a meaningful order. Okay, means January, February, March. If there is a meaningful order, then it is the ordinal data. If there is no any meaningful order, then it is nominal data. Like religion or the blood group. Now comes the interval data. Numeric with equal intervals, no true zero. Okay, and in the ratio data, numeric equal intervals with a true zero. Okay. So by looking at this, now you are able to understand what is the difference. No true zero with a true zero. बता सकते हैं what is the difference? देखिए, let me tell you the difference. The difference is the temperature in Celsius. ठीक है? Now temperature in Celsius is a relative quantity. Okay, what is the relative here? Relative means, okay, we decided, okay, what is the 0 degree temperature? 0 degree Celsius means the temperature at which water become ice. Okay, so that is the scale that we have defined. Now with respect to that scale, we are looking at the whole temperature, but there is a true zero for the weight. What could be the minimum weight? The minimum weight can be 0. Can weight be less than 0? No. Can height be less than 0? No. Can distance be less than 0? No. So there is a true zero with respect to which we are looking at the data. आपको समझ में आता है? परसेंटेज एंड परसेंटाइल में डिफरेंस समझ में आता है सबको? So in many exams percentile has been coming. So that percentile is depending on the interval data, and those percentages are dependent on the ratio data. Means when there is a true zero and when there is no true zero, because temperature can be negative, right? Temperature can be negative. We have defined a zero where water become ice, so that is a parameter with which we are relative everything. Okay, so those kind of data is called the interval data. इसका एग्जांपल देता हूँ मैं भी आपको, ठीक है? उससे बेटर समझ में आएगा. बट बिफोर गोइंग टू दैट, कोई मुझे ऑर्डिनल और इंटरवल डेटा में डिफरेंस बता सकता है? मैं बताता हूँ आपको डिफरेंस. सपोज okay, suppose there are 4 different persons. Okay, and in any exam, he is getting a plus plus grade, he is getting A grade, he is getting B grade, he is also getting B grade. Okay? And he is getting marks out of 100. He is getting 90. देखिए, ये आपको डेटा समझ में आता है. ग्रेड्स कुछ इसी तरह से बनते हैं इन एग्जाम्स. सो देर आर 4 students, and these are the grades which are coming to them: A double plus, A, B, and B. And the marks which they are getting out of 100 is 98, 88, 78, and 72. Okay. Now, can you tell me what is the difference between these grades and what is it? So, what is the significant difference between the grades and the marks? Right. So, I am saying here that grades are the interval data. Okay. And these marks are the ratio data. Now, what is the significance difference? No, man. Okay, let me explain. Actually, the basic difference is the true zero of this marks has been decided 100. Okay, so true zero is zero number. Okay? And the thing is that difference between 98 and 88 marks is 2. Okay, and difference between 88 and 78 marks is, तो इन दोनों का डिफरेंस कितना होगा? इन दोनों का डिफरेंस होगा 10 मार्क्स. ठीक है, एंड इसका भी डिफरेंस होगा 10 मार्क्स, राइट? 98 to 88 and 88 to 78. The difference is 10 marks, right? Agree? So here the difference of 98 and 88 marks is 10 and difference of 88 and 78 marks is 10. Now these both 10 are equal, right? This 10 marks equal to this 10 marks,
Yes.
right? What does it mean? It means that difference is always constant. But here if I would say the difference between grade A double plus and A and difference between grade A and B, is that both same? मैं ऐसा बोलता हूँ ठीक है.
Yes.
So what is happening here? 98 minus 88 equal to 10 and 88 minus 78 equal to 10. Both are equal. But difference of A double plus minus A and difference of A minus B are not same. Okay. So this is what the difference of, this is basically what the difference of the data. तो यहाँ पे मैंने इंटरवल गलत लिख दिया, इसको मुझे लिखना था metric
Ordinal.
ordinal. I'm really sorry, I wrote it wrong. So this is the difference of ordinal data and metric data. In the metric data, the difference is always same. Okay, but in the ordinal data, difference are not. Suppose I am saying I have given you four rating 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1 means unsatisfied. ठीक है, तो इस तरह से आपने एंड या चलो गुड बेड में now if I'm asking maybe if I'm asking Amar that Amar the how you will rate this course. Okay, so maybe one student say good, okay, and another student say very good, possible, and then third student say bad and fourth student say very good. कुछ भी कोई कुछ भी rating दे सकता है. Now do you really think that the difference between very bad and bad is equal to the difference between bad and good? Here what I'm
No.
asking, the difference between very bad and bad is different from difference between bad and good, and again the difference between good and very good is different from difference between very bad and bad. Means if I would say the difference of the marks, then that is always constant. 98 out of minus 88, which is 10, which is always constant. So if the difference is constant, right? If the difference is constant, then it is called the interval data. Interval or the mainly the interval ratio data or the metric data. But the difference is not constant between two terms, although they are in the sequence. आप इसको एक sequence में तो decide कर सकते हैं. You can arrange these marks in a sequence like 72, 78. So these are in the decreasing sequence, right? And these are also in the increasing sequence. So the sequence is at the both the place, but the difference here is constant, but the difference here is not constant. So this makes us, this tell us that this is the, yeah, grade represent the range of the marks. Okay, but here interval doesn't mean the, so what is interval data? I'll tell you. Okay, अभी हम बात कर रहे हैं metric data. Okay, everything in the interval here. Don't you think that their marks are in the interval? How can you say a minus? No, I cannot say a minus b equal to 10, and I'm not saying a minus b equal to. So actually, this is the reason I cannot say a minus b equal to 10. That's why this is ordinal data. But here I can say 88 minus 78 equal to 10. That's why I can say this is a metric data. Get it? because I cannot say that A minus B equal to 10. That's why this A minus B, C, D are the ordinal data. But here I can directly say that, okay, 88 minus 78 equal to 10, which is always constant, whatever the scenario is. Okay, in for all the courses. Maybe in the some of the courses, the grades are very nearby because student performs so well that there is not much difference in their marks, but there is a difference in their ranks. Okay, so at those places, based on their grades, we can note it that, okay, this student is very good and this student is not that good. But based on the marks, we can always say that. Okay, so that's why those kind of data is called the metric data and this data is called the original data. Okay, now metric data के अंदर there are two kinds of data, interval data and ratio data. Let's come there. ठीक है, वो confusion भी मैं clear करता हूँ. So yes, देखिए internal ratio data में क्या था? There is a true zero has been defined. If there is a true zero has been defined, then the data is called the ratio data. Means the क्या था यहाँ पर? Marks in an exam. Okay, what was the example here? Yeah, weight, height, distance. Okay, so for the weight, height, distance, there is a true zero has been defined, so that is called the ratio data. And for the interval data, there is no zero defined. So let's take an example. Suppose there is a race between few students. Okay, कुछ students में एक race हो रहा है. Okay, now when you know when this race was started, if you are looking at the race of the students and when you know when the race was started, means when time was equal to 0. Okay, and after 6 hours, okay, after 6 hours you are looking at these two red persons. Okay, so so like if there is a race between few students and after 2 hours you are looking at that this person is uh, after 2 hours just cover this much distance, but this person after 2 hours cover this much distance. So then how will you say that who is more fast and how fast? How you can comment on their speed? You can say that, okay, speed of this person is 3 times more than this, more than speed of this person, isn't it? If all of them started running at this time t equal to 0, okay, and after few time, okay, after few time, this person has covered this much distance and this person has covered this much distance, okay, then how you can say that who is more fast? This, and how much fast? 3 times more fast than this person. So so when we have given the ratio data, when we have defined the true zero, then we can do the comparison. We can compare between two persons that, okay, how fast one person compared to another person. But if no true zero has been decided, okay, if no true zero has been decided, then what we can say? We can say that, okay, this person is 4 hours faster than this person. क्योंकि आपका कोई true zero तो है नहीं. You never know that when the race was started, but at, as of now, this person is running is 4 hours faster than this person. Okay. Suppose two trains were started, but you didn't know that from where these two trains were started. Okay, then at any specific station, what you will say? Train number 2 is 4 hours after the train number 3, isn't it? But if you know the true zero, then what you will say? Train number 1 is delayed by this much time. Difference समझ में आ रहा है दोनों में? Interval ratio data में. Both data are very important and both data are readily available in the market. Suppose you are standing at any railway station, okay, and you are not aware that, okay, the two trains which are coming, they are coming from which location? You are not aware. Okay, means you do not know about the true zero from where they started. So what you will say? The first train is now and the another train is after 4 hours. Okay, but if you really know the true zero, okay, then what you will say? This train is on the right time and this train is late by 4 hours, right? डिफरेंस समझ में आता है या किसी को डाउट है यहाँ तक कोई?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So actually this is the difference between interval ratio data. Now how this difference has been implicated? Yes, Nitin, please. Nitin, please ask me what is your doubt. You have doubt in ordinal or the metric data or in the interval and ratio data? Nitin? Okay. Yeah, please write. Why is temperature? Okay, Nitin, you have doubt in the ordinal data. Okay. Why temperature is interval data? Okay. Someone asked this. Now, why temperature is interval data? Because true zero is not defined. We assume that where the true zero will come. We assume that true zero will come when the temperature is when the water will become ice. So we are assuming that okay, that point is a 0 degree Celsius, and that's why temperature can be less than that. But if I will say that weight of a phone is 0 kg, okay, what does it mean? There is not any weight in the phone. What is the temperature of a phone is 0 degree? Then it means temperature is 0 degree. Can you please elaborate the train example? Okay, okay. I'll come into that. But train example, Nitin, is for the, I would say, for the interval, for the metric data, not for the ordinal data. So you have doubt in the ordinal data or in the metric data. Anyways, if any station one train is coming half, okay, I cannot read, able to see your messages. Okay, in the metric data. Okay. Okay, so let me come again there. So Ankita, your doubt is clear. Why temperature is the interval data? Because we assumed there are 0 here. There is no fixed true age. You can define your own scale. You know, sometimes temperature in the Fahrenheit, sometimes temperature in the Celsius. So what is the difference? They have different way of defining the temperature. Okay, but no matter the temperature is in the temperature. Sorry, the weight is in the kg or the milligram or the gram, whatever the unit is, or in the pound. 0 is always constant, right? So even if you are measuring the weight in the pound or in the kg, the 0 is always constant. But that is not the case with the temperature. So that's why in those kind of data, we get the interval. And interval is very important because you know we cannot always find out the 0 of the data. Suppose if you want to analyze the if you want to analyze the late if I want to give an example of a train, if you want to analyze the behavior of a train in peak season, okay, suppose if you want to analyze the behavior of the train with how much amount it got late in a peak season, okay, then you collect the past year data, past 2 years, past 3 years, past 20 years, okay, though the data of past 100 years is available, but will you consider all the past 100-year data? Tell me. No, you will not. Though the data of past 100 years is available, but you will not take the past 100-year data because last data is not very relevant. Sir, make lecture. Okay. So past data is not very relevant. Okay. So this is the reason. Okay. So that's why you are defining the scale that okay, we are considering past 20 years data. Okay. And we are doing the analysis based on past 20 years data. Okay. So आप उस 20 years के data के हिसाब से future analysis कर रहे हो और आपने उस past 20 years data को true zero मान ली, not the true zero, एक zero assume कर लो. So this is basically the interval data. Okay, and if already true zero has been defined, like if you want to analyze the Vande Bharat Express train late behavior, then Vande Bharat is not very old train. Okay, so data may be available from past 5 and 6 years. Okay? So then the true zero is already defined for the Vande Bharat train. The true zero is already defined because those are comparative to the new train. Okay, so in those cases, that will come under the ratio data. I hope I am able to make things clear now. When we get the data, it will become more viable. So it is difficult to understand, but when we look at the data, we can easily identify that okay, what kind of charts can be made out of this data. Okay. Now let me connect the theory with the charts. So Now look at these charts. आप लोगों ने ये सारे charts देखे हुए हैं? Have you seen these charts? Okay. So here when you are given the nominal data, okay, then with the help of nominal data, you can make the bar charts or the frequency charts. Okay. If the data given to you is a nominal data, then even if you want to make the histograms or even if you want to make the heat map, you can not. You can only make the bar chart if the nominal data is given. Okay. So if the nominal data is given, you can only make the bar chart. But if the ordinal data is given, then you can make the line charts. Line charts means because you can arrange the ordinal data with respect to the time, right? You cannot arrange the nominal data with respect to the time, but you can arrange the ordinal data with respect to the time, like January, February, month, etc., etc. Okay. So with respect to the time or with respect to the height or whatever the your context is. So in those cases, you can make the line diagram. Means you can look at the trend, how the data has been behaving. So if the data is given is ordinal, then you can also make the nominal. You can also make the bar chart and you can also make the line diagram. Then you understand. Do you know frequency charts? Not the frequency chart. Then comes the matrix. Okay, so if the metric chart, metric data has been given, then you can make the histograms. Okay. अगर आपको histogram बनाना है, histograms means when the data can be anywhere, like scatter diagram plot, okay, or distributions. I would say if you want to make the distribution of any data, आपने सुना है ना Poisson distribution, normal distribution, etc., etc. Okay, so those normal distribution, those Poisson distribution, those calculation, those charts can only be done for the metric data. If the data given to you is a nominal data, आपने उसका normal distribution बना दिया, that is not practically correct. Okay. You cannot make the, so if the data is in the metric data, then you can always do the you can always make the histograms. Okay. Then box and plot graph, pie charts. When we make the pie charts, in the business world, pie charts are not considered as a very good chart because they provide half information. Pie charts can never provide the full information. They can provide the half information. But when we make the pie charts in the box plot chart, we make these charts when we provide when we are representing something as a whole. Okay. If you want to know how many girls in the class, okay, then pie charts will be good. So means part of a whole. Okay. If you want to show that out of total Vande Bharat trains, how many Vande Bharat trains are running late, then part of a whole. Okay. Part of the whole is called the is called the pie chart. Okay, so that's how we classify that. Okay, what chart can be made at what situation. We'll look at this phenomenon again. Okay, but let me tell you why we are studying this. Okay. Now I have covered the theory of the data. What is data? But one thing which must be discussed here, that why there is a need of understanding all of this data. Okay, can anyone please tell me now by looking at this slide? That why it is most crucial to understand the types of data. देखिए मैं बताता हूँ. The reason being, because whenever we are doing any analysis in our business, okay, in our research or whatever the our work area is, we are always expecting the desired test at the end. Okay, we are expecting some desired test or the desired result at the end. But those results are coming based on our data. Okay, what is our result? Results are something which is coming from the data. So results is highly dependent on the data. Okay, but when we are collecting the data, we are collecting the data at the start. So maybe today I am collecting the data, okay, based on which I will generate some results next month. Okay, but what result I would like to generate next month, I need to classify that today only, because based on those required results, I have to decide that what kind of data I will collect today. Because that's why understanding the data is very important. Because we are always looking for the very desired result, but what could be the desired result is depend on the input data. Okay, and when we input the data, sometime back. So that's why whatever result we are expecting in the future, those results are dependent on the data that we are collecting today. And that's why we it is very much required to understand the classification of the data, so that at the start we classify the data and we collect the right data. Okay, so that's why understanding of the data is very crucial. Cool. चले आगे. So जैसा मैंने आपको बताया था, नॉमिनल वेरिएबल्स क्या होते हैं? ठीक है, मोस्ट बेसिक लेवल ऑफ मेजरमेंट नॉमिनल data can be categorized A, B, C, D. Okay, so there is a data has been given. We already discussed this. I'm just repeating. So if the data given as A, B, C, D, then we can not arrange this data in any sequence, and this is called the nominal. If we can, uh, if we can not arrange like A, we can not arrange like this. Okay, then it is called the nominal data. But if we can arrange A, B, C, D in a sequence, like A is less than B is less than C, and C is less than D, then it is called the ordinal data. But here the difference between C and D is not equal to the difference between B and C. So what is the ordinal data? The data where we can arrange A, B, C, D in a sequence, but difference between C and D is not equal to the difference between B and C. Is not equal to the difference between A and B. So if the difference is not equal in the intervals, then it is called the ordinal data. So like what are the ordinal data? Very unsatisfied, satisfied, neutral, satisfied. So we already discussed this. Okay, then what are the metric variables? Difference in sums can be formed meaningfully. Means the difference between C and D is equal to the difference between B and C, or are in a right ratio. Okay. Means that difference has to be defined. If the difference can be defined between these entities, then that is called the metric data. Metric data में आपका interval ratio data दोनों data. So we already discussed this, I think. Now, there are the third types of classification of the data, which is based on the structure of the data. So someone already stated this at the start of the class, that there is structured data, unstructured data, and semi-structured data. So all of you know this portion very much, because this is what we are discussing in this course. I am not going here on the structure, unstructured, semi-structured data. Then another classification is primary data and secondary data. Okay. This is also again very easy one. What is primary data? Data which we collect for the first time. If you are asking me, okay, something which I'm teaching, then that is the primary data. Okay, but if you are asking maybe some other person what I am teaching, then that becomes the secondary data. So if I would like to do some case study on the Indian railways. Okay, and you are all working on the Indian railways. Most of you are working on that. So if I'm asking a doubt directly from you regarding the Indian railway, then that is called the primary data, because I'm directly correcting you. But if you have written some blog on the internet, I am considering that blog to finding out the answer. Then that data is called the secondary data, because I'm not directly correcting the data from the source. Okay, but I'm collecting the data from third party. Okay, so that third party or the some other platform. So that is called the secondary data. So what is primary data? Collected first hand for a specific purpose. Okay, secondary data already collected by someone else. किसी और ने डेटा कलेक्ट करके एक ब्लॉग लिख दिया, मैं वहां से डेटा लेकर आया. कई बार हम करते हैं ना. we mostly we are mostly dependent on the secondary data, right? Suppose if you want to know what is the population of New Delhi, then you are not going to go and count the population of the New Delhi. You will just search it on the Google, and you will believe that whatever Google is saying is the right. So that is called the secondary data. Clear है? Then okay, there is another classification, discrete and continuous data. Okay, so discrete and continuous data is again very easy. Continuous data, तो discrete data के बारे में we'll discuss when we come to the Tableau software. Okay, this is again very important. We'll discuss this in the software. Okay. So this is more about the data. Now let me discuss something about the. We can discuss something about the visualization. Okay, about the charts. So basically there are five types of charts. Okay, most important charts. Basically पांच ही तरह के charts होते हैं. ठीक है. After that, there are few charts which we do not use much. Okay, so let me open that slide. Okay, we'll finish quickly. Let me share the screen. Just wait for 2 minutes. Okay, now can you see this slide? So basically, as I already discussed, uh, there are most importantly there are 5 types of charts: bar charts, frequency charts, pie charts, okay, scatter plot, and line diagram. Now, what are the bar charts? These are the bar charts. Okay, when we make the bar charts, when the data which is given to us based on different categories. Okay, when there are multiple categories has been given to us, then we make the bar chart. Now, what is vertical bar chart? This is the vertical bar chart. When we prefer the vertical bar charts, when category are less than 7. So if the category which we are having are less than 7, then we prefer this vertical bar chart. If the categories are more than 7, then we prefer this horizontal bar charts. Okay. If the categories are less than 7, then this vertical bar charts. If categories are more than 7, then this vertical bar charts. Okay. Then again, stacked बार चार्ट क्या होता है? फॉर पार्ट टू होल, जैसा पाई चार्ट था वैसे ही पार्ट टू होल होता है. मींस दिस पोर्शन इज शोइंग whole part of this whole. Suppose this is the this is the total download of the TikToks in the world, and this sky blue color is showing the downloads in the USA only. Okay? So this is the total downloads of TikTok software in the world, and this much in the USA. Okay, so if we are plotting this kind of graph, then it is called the stack bar. Okay, then comes the histogram. Histogram क्या होता है? Distribution charts. Normal distribution chart you might have seen. Okay, so those charts are called the distribution charts. Distributing over continuous variable like age, weight, etc. So if your data is being continuously distributed with respect to any parameter, then those charts are called the histograms. Then comes the pie chart. So you already know the pie charts. Then whenever we are going for the correlation, regression, clustering, those kind of analysis, then we usually plot the scatter chart. Okay, so it depends on what kind of mathematical analysis we are doing. So whenever we do correlation, regression, or the clustering, then it is called the scatter chart. Okay. Then comes the line chart. Line chart क्या होता है? Mostly, you know, the chart which we see for the stock market. Okay, so how the stock market is varying with respect to the time. Sometimes the graph go above, the sometimes graph go down. Okay, and it is continuously changing with the time. So those kind of charts are called the line charts. Okay, so there is a continuous variation in the chart with respect to the time. Those kind of charts are called the line charts. Okay, so these are the basic kind of charts. Okay. Now let us come to the another portion or the table. ठीक है, अब हम थोड़ा टेबुलरी सॉफ्टवेयर की बात करते हैं. But before understanding, not even the tableau will come in the next session. Okay, now we'll understand the analytics. Analytics what आप सब लोग समझते हैं? What is analytics? Can anyone please define what is analytics?
Analysis of past data to find out uh, critical information about any incident or event.
Okay, and how analytics can be done?
So it is usually done by getting the right data, then a cleaning of data is done, and then using
Right.
that charts can be plotted to identify past trends and to understand what to make future predictions. And based on those predictions, steps can be taken by any organization.
Right, ma'am, you pointed out very correctly. So those process we will discuss. Actually, data visualization, which is the focus area of our discussion in this course, not in this course, in this session, is the very last step. You know, but there are so many things which before the comes before the data visualization. We'll discuss those aspects. Okay. So what are those aspects? Let's start from the scratch. Big data क्या होता है? We already discussed. Do you remember someone said sometime before there was a oil cloud नाम था शायद. So there is a person who said that data is the new oil. आप लोगों ने फ्रेम सुना है? काफी फेमस फ्रेम है in today's world. Data is the new oil.
Yes.
And that's why we are attending this course, the probabilistic machine learning, deep learning, AI, data visualization. All of these things are revolving around the data. Okay? And why? Because data is the new oil. But why they give this statement that data is the new oil? Can please anyone tell me?
Sir, because like the oil that provides us energy, right, in vehicles and running in industry, but the data is in a way is driving the world in that days.
Okay, right. You are right. In fact, we are generating data every time. Whatever we are doing, you are attending this lecture. I am giving this lecture. We are generating the data.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
So, like if we use IoT, IoT means Internet of Things. Whenever we are using our phone, our Bluetooth device, our laptop, we are printing anything. Okay, we are doing any facts, whatever we are doing. Okay, we are listening music. Some data is being generated every time. Okay, so it means there is a huge amount of data, but still that doesn't answer that why data is the new oil. जैसा आपने बोला data can be the new energy, energy भी बोल सकते थे. But why they specifically use word oil? Can anyone please give me the reference? Why the word oil has been used?
Oil, I think oil is useless until refined. So without, sir, like the data, if we have not cleaned or refined, we cannot use that data for any purposefully. So
Right,
that's
Arvind.
why, yeah.
Right. So actually, this was the idea. So what happened? Data was always there. Okay, maybe past 20 years. Okay, 20 years back, we were not talking much about the data. Okay, we were not talking much about the data. Maybe past 20 years. But does it mean at that time there was not any data? No, there was enough data available. Before even 20, 30 years back, there is enough data is available, but we do not know what to do with this data. Similarly, since from the inception of the earth, there are huge amount of oil is being with the earth, right? So whatever you say oil से हमने petrol बनाया, we make diesel, petrol, kerosene, pex, CNG, etc. from the oil, from the earth resources, right? But those resources are always with the earth since from the beginning. It is just that we are we to realize what can be done from this oil gradually. Okay, and still you will be amazed that there are many things which can be done with the oil in the future. We are still in the research process, right? Isn't it?
Yes.
So same is the case with the data. Data was always present in this universe since from the start, okay, and will always be there. Okay, but eventually after some time we start recognizing that okay, data can be a very powerful tool. With the data we can predict future. With the data we can organize things. With the data we can structure the scenarios. Then everyone started using data. But do you really think still we are able to use all the data which we are generating?
No, not
No,
actually, I think.
no. So actually, if I say in terms of figure, then still we are only able to use 70% of the data. Still we are able to use 70% of the data, of the total data which is being generated. Huge amount of data is being generated from everywhere. If you post on the Instagram, okay, one post, a huge data is being generated. It is being seen by lakhs of persons. Someone likes it, someone do not likes it, someone share it, someone who don't share it. Okay, so a huge amount of data is being generated. Someone commented on that comment, someone liked, someone didn't like. So data is being continuously generated. But if you are not know If you do not know that what can be done with this data, then that data is just having some space in your hard drive. But if somehow you can find out that okay, what can be done with this data, then you can altogether manage a different business dimension, isn't it? So that's why it has been said that data is a new oil, because with the data, many new things are coming up. Okay, with the data, something new is always coming. Okay, and there is a huge scope in the future which can be done, where data can be used to generate different multiple insights. Okay? But the problem is, आपको क्यों लगता है why 70% data is still unused? What is the reason? Someone already answered it at the start of today's session. Why 70% data is still unused? Because it is highly unstructured, right? We are not aware what this data is. Noise, right? You rightly pointed out. So noise, whatever the noise we are looking at in our areas, that noise is always a kind of data. Okay? But we are not able to use it. Okay? If in the future if we can use those data, then those data will can become the fruitful for us. So that's why data is a new oil. Now there is a new term. Recently, someone said data is a new oil. Now they are saying data is a new soil. SOIL. Okay? These are the perspectives. Okay, when we understand the perspective, then we can appreciate that okay, whatever we are doing is highly relevant. Okay? Now there is a new term. Someone said that data is the new soil. आप क्या सोचते हैं किसी ने उसको soil नाम क्यों दिया oil के बाद? Why soil? Because soil has a power of nurture, right? Soil can help a body to decompose. Soil can help a plant to grow. Okay. Similarly, so soil has a nurturing power. Okay. Similarly, data has that nurturing power. Okay. Uh, you might have noticed that in the last week, okay, a doctor was not able to diagnose the disease or the symptoms of a patient in last 10 years, but AI did the same thing in 10 minutes. Okay, it was the news in the last week. Okay. Why? Because now data has that power that it can nurture us, it can provide us, and it can lead us, okay, in the future. So this is what the soil is being doing to the earth. Okay, soil has that nurturing power. Okay? If you just plant your tree in a box of the plastic, will your plant grow? No, it will not. But if you plant your tree in a soil, it will. There are chances that it will grow because soil has that nurturing power. Similarly, data has that nurturing power, and if we use data rightly, correctly, cautiously, then it can help us even in the future in a very significant way in different aspects. Okay, so that's why it has been said that data is a new soil also. But how to deal with this data? And why dealing with the data is difficult? Because 70% data is still unused. Okay? And that's how, and this is the critical challenge. So what we can do about it? Let's focus over there. So let me share the slides again. Just a minute. So I'm sharing the another slide. Just give me one, please. Okay. Please let me know when you can see the slides. Is it really visible?
Yes, that's visible.
Okay. So yes, सबसे पहले हम बात कर रहे थे big data की. So the data which is being available is a big data. Big data means three V's: variety, volume, and velocity. Now, what is variety means? The data which we are getting is, just make one thing clear in your mind, that big data doesn't only mean that the huge amount of data. That is the 33% definition of the big data. That is only the 33% of the data definition of the big data. That data is huge. But post it, there are two more things. One is variety of the data, means data which is being available in structured form. Structured data can be easily analyzed in Excel. You can store it in this databases. But if the data is in semi-structured form, which is in terms of the log file like CSV file, which is a text file, okay, JSON file, you might have heard the name, ठीक है, और आपके वेबसाइट में जो पीछे कोडिंग में जो डेटा लिखा होता है, then all of those data is called the unstructured or semi-structured data, not unstructured. So those data has been structured in logs or in the website, and then comes the unstructured data. Unstructured data means data which in terms of video or images. So this is one of two of the example. Like there is huge amount of data available on the YouTube in an unstructured format. That is the video data. Okay? But that data can be further used, and that is again the data. We use all of this data in the table. Okay, table use all of this kind of data. Table. आप video data को image data को भी table में use कर सकते हैं. Okay? But this is called the variety of the data. So big data, another definition of the big data is that it has a variety of the data. Okay, then comes the volume. Volume means the size of the data, megabyte, gigabyte, petabyte. Okay? And then comes the velocity of the data. So someone already very clearly defined that what is the velocity of the data. Velocity of the data means the frequency of the data. Okay, how frequent the data is being updating itself. So this is called the big data. Big data we already discussed. Now, how to deal with the data? Let's go at that. Okay. Now, what my target is, will eventually come into the data visualization and business intelligence. Okay. But before that, there are few things which are required. आप लोगों ने सुना है, there is a very famous post in the mainly in the computer science background, which is called data architecture. आपको पता है what is data architecture? So actually what happened, data is being continuously generated. Suppose all of you might have visited DMart, right? DMart to somebody visit kiya hoga. So when you go to the DMart, then there are multiple stores of the DMart even in the same city. Like we are in the Jaipur, and Jaipur has around 10 DMarts. Okay. Then every city has DMart, every state has few DMarts. Different DMarts have different customer bases. Okay. So a huge amount of data is being generated. Now, if the huge amount of data is being generated, where that data is being stored? बता सकते हो वो डेटा सारा स्टोर कहाँ पर होगा? क्लाउड में? Does anyone know what is a cloud? What is a data cloud? Can anyone please tell me what is data cloud?
Cloud is a online storage available on internet like Google Drive, and
Okay.
there are many public and private clouds like Amazon,
Okay.
um,
AWS, Amazon.
AWS. Yes.
And where this data is being stored?
Hmm.
in data warehouse.
Okay. So is it stored in the cloud or in the warehouse?
Uh, Actually, it's a multiple server where the data is stored, and
Right.
it is online for a use
Right.
as per
So you
service
might have
mesh.
seen like Google. You might have heard the news that Google has purchased 20,000 square feet land somewhere in the Pune. Okay, now why Google needs so much land? So that they can make the warehouses over there. So if you are storing something in the Google Drive, then for you it is the cloud. Means you do not have to store that in your laptop. But Google is somewhere storing those data in their hard drive. Okay, the physical hard drive. That hard drive is called the data lake. Huge amount of data has been generated. Like I said, the example of the DMart. So DMart में there is a huge amount of data has been generated. Which product is coming? Which product uh, is not in the stock? Which product is in the stock? Which product is in the transit? Which product will get finished tomorrow? For which product there is a more demand? For which product there is a less demand? There is huge amount of data. Okay. All of those data is being stored in the data lake. Now from the data is being so as per the need. If you require any specific kind of analysis, like we want to study the growth of Rajasthan stores with respect to the growth of Gujarat DMart store. Then which data you only need? Rajasthan DMart data and Gujarat DMart data. You do not need other data. Okay. So then in the data warehouse, only the Rajasthan and Gujarat data will come, and from that data you will make some reports. Okay. But how it has been doing? Where those data which is being generated each and every time, where it will get stored, then which data after the filter which will come in the data warehouse. Now out of those data, what are the results can be performed? ये जो पूरा इसका स्ट्रक्चर होता है, इसका जो जो ब्लूप्रिंट बनता है, इस ब्लूप्रिंट को बनाने वाला जो पर्सन होता है उसे बोलते हैं डेटा आर्किटेक्चर. दिस इज द स्टेप नंबर 1 in the journey of the data. And what is their role? Their role is to manage, protect, and assess the data. So if the huge amount of data is available, then they manage the data, they protect the data from the cyber attack, and then they access the data and can provide the right data which is required for the specific task. So this is called what? The data architecture. So this is the post number 1. After data architect, there is another post which is called the data engineer. किसी को आइडिया डेटा इंजीनियरिंग क्या होता है? Data engineering means in the data engineering they define the path with which data has been flowing. Okay. Simply जैसे like we need a path to flow the water. Similarly, we need the path to flow the data. Okay. So what is that path from one place where the data has been coming, how the data has been reaching to us again? Like if I'm delivering this lecture, okay, on the WebEx. So do you really think that whatever I'm saying is directly coming to you? Okay, no. Then what has been happening in the behind? It get transformed. So whatever I am speaking here, it is not directly coming to you. It is being somewhere on the centralized. It is being my instruction has been my instruction has been going somewhere at the centralized hub of the WebEx, and from that centralized hub, it is being circulated to all of you. It's not like it is directly coming to you. So there is some bit path. Okay, whatever I'm saying, the conversation has been going to there, and from that place it is been coming to you. Okay. So now similarly the data has been flowing. Okay. Now what is the path of that data? How it is getting transformed, right? So how it is getting transformed? All of this data cycle is being defined by the data engineer. Okay. If you want to know in detail what is data engineering, what is data architecture, you may connect with me post classes. Here I'm not going in much detail in these terminologies, but just for the idea that okay, you can not directly do the data visualization, or you cannot directly do the business analytics. There are few steps which are required beforehand for the data. Then comes the data modeling. कोई बता सकता है मुझे what is data modeling? I'm expecting that at least you will tell me. Data modeling is not heavily computer science engineering related field, but it is a general concept. Data modeling, anyone can do data modeling.
Representation of data.
Okay, presentation of data. Okay. Any other answer?
Yeah. And its representation of data and how it will be related to other data means it say how this is stored in a table format or any other format, JSON format, and how it is one entity is related to another entity.
Right. You pointed out perfectly. So raw data means data modeling means huge amount of data is available, but in a very unstructured form. Suppose there are 10 DMart. Suppose there are 10 DMart stores. Now, in the 10 different DMart store, there is a separate DMart data of each and every store. But what we would like to do, we would like to send the WhatsApp message to all the customers that okay, we are getting discounts this week. Please go to your nearby store and purchase something. So what you do? You collect the data from all the three DMart stores. Then from all the three DMart store data, you will make one file called the customers. So this customers file has the customer's name of all the three stores, right? And then this another file which is the value of the information of the orders for all the three stores, and then this another file which is the product available in all the three stores. Okay, so this is called the data modeling, means making the relationship of the data. We'll do this data modeling in detail in the table. टेबल में डेटा मॉडलिंग सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट ठीक है आपको डेटा आ गया नाउ द बेटर योर डेटा मॉडलिंग इज more better your results are because data modeling decide the basis for the analysis. Okay, if you are not good at the data modeling, then there are chances that you will not able to do the right analysis because data modeling gives us the chance that okay, what are the right combinations and what are the similar kinds of data, and then aligning those data and connecting those data with each other. So this is called the data modeling. Data modeling समझ में आया? So like this is the customer file, this is the order file, and this is the product file. Now orders are related with the customers as well as the products. So that's why here orders is in the center. So orders are connected with the customers and orders are connected with the products. So that's how we are creating a relationship. So this is the these are the three different data sets from three different stores. Now we extract the data from all of these three files. We combine those data, and this is somewhat the final output. Okay. Now then comes the data mining. What is data mining?
Data mining something like required meaningful in for fetch a meaningful information from the data.
Right, right. So like as I said in the start, that still 70% data is unused. Okay, suppose you are sitting at the Indian Railway, okay, at the IRCTC, and you know, right, hidden pattern or relationship in the data, right? So suppose you have the huge data of the IRCTC, right? Now there is a data of the uh, suppose there is an option in the IRCTC where the option has been given that choose your seats, right? एक option आता है टिकट बुक करते टाइम IRCTC में that choose your seat. You want lower berth, upper berth, side upper, lower upper. So you have that data available with you. Okay, but suppose we are not using that data as of now. Okay, that data is being someone is filling that data and accordingly he is getting the seats. Okay, but we are not using that data as of now. But what we can do in the future? Okay, we know that which data is connected with which person. So when he is booking the tickets, okay, we are not asking him to give the preference, but we are telling him that okay, we are this much side upper seats are available, which you usually prefer, and we are charging 10 rupees more. Okay, and we can give you the side upper if you are willing to. Okay? I'm just giving the business model how the data can be used. Okay, so there are many types of data is being available. We are not using those data, but in some of the scenarios we dig out and find some hidden patterns, and using those patterns, right? Using those patterns, we can provide something very important. ठीक है मैं आपको इसका एक एग्जांपल देता हूँ so suppose you do one thing, you just search any phone, you just write on the Google, I would like to purchase a phone, okay, under 10,000 rupees, then forget about it. Tomorrow again you will write on the Google, I would like to purchase a phone under 10,000 rupees, that's it. Okay? Now from the third day onwards, you might have noticed whenever you are opening any websites, whenever you are opening any websites, or whenever you are uh, purchasing anything on the Amazon, right, or whatever you are doing, okay, you are maybe you are opening Blinkit or the Instagram, okay, then you might have noticed that Instagram पे आपको phones के ही ad आने लगेंगे, ठीक है? आप कोई website खोलोगे तो you might have seen that phone advertisement on that website. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So this is a classic example of machine learning and data mining. Okay, because every person searching so many things on the Google. Now Google started using that data. So Google क्या करता है? If you search phone under 10,000 rupees, ठीक है? So Google know that Google will say to Redmi that okay, there is one user who would like to purchase a phone of under rupees 10,000. I can show your phone to him as an advertisement if you give me 5-10 rupees. I will show him. ठीक है? वो Redmi उससे बोलता है कि okay, show my phone to him as an advertisement. I'll give you money if he will buy, or even if he will not buy. ठीक है? And then Google showing this Redmi phone to you. So Google is start purchasing. So who generate the data? You generate the data. ठीक है? Google use the data and start earning some money. And ultimately you see the advertisement of the phone again and again, and then you will ultimately go and buy it. Okay, so this is called the data mining. But if you log out from your mail ID and you start login from another mail ID, you will never see those advertisement again. Why? Because those advertisements are being linked with your IDs. Okay? So this is one of the example which although this is a very old case study, but this is what data mining can do. Data mining means mining the data, looking at the data so deep and finding out that okay, what kind of different knowledge, insights can be generated out of the data. Okay, so this is called the data mining. Okay, clear है यहाँ तक सबको? Okay. Now comes the data science. Data science is something which is not computer science engineering specific, and all of you are quite well in the data science. So I will not spend much time on the data science. But what is basically the data science? Data science means using some programming languages. Okay, then the domain knowledge. Data science is an application area. One has to have the domain knowledge. If you have the knowledge of mechanical engineering, then you can apply the data science in mechanical engineering. If I have the knowledge of maybe aeronautic, maybe I have the knowledge of I would say the tourism industry, then I can apply the data science in the tourism industry, right? So data science is an application. Now, so and those knowledges are called the domain knowledge. I have a domain knowledge of tourism. You have a domain knowledge of engineering. So you can apply data science over there. Now, combining this domain knowledge with some of the advanced mathematics tools and programming languages. So by combining all of these three aspects, if we look at the data and we predict the future, then that is called the data science. So data science has three inputs: mathematics, advanced mathematics, some programming languages, and most importantly, the domain knowledge. After the data science, then comes the machine learning. Okay, machine learning, all of you know, so I'm skipping this slide. Okay, and post the machine learning comes the data visualization. ठीक है, जब मशीन लर्निंग भी आपका हो जाता है, उसके बाद फिर नंबर आता है डेटा विजुलाइजेशन. So data visualization, what is data visualization? Represents the raw data in terms of bars, pie chart, trees, map, plots, etc. That's where the data visualization comes in. ठीक है? So now comes the final term, which is called the business intelligence. So okay, let me explain you what is business intelligence. So guys, देखिए यहाँ इसके बाद we'll start Tableau software. Okay, after this business intelligence, we will have a break. Okay, and after the break, I hope all of you have installed the Tableau. And what I wish that okay, you start making dashboard with. Okay, I will be go very slow. Okay, because I do not want it to be one side teaching that okay, I am making the dashboard and you are just looking at it. I want you to make the dashboard with. Okay, so for those it is possible to download and install the software. Those who have login from the laptop, they please install the software. Okay, and if you haven't logged in from your laptop, then kindly log in from your laptop in the next session and try to make the dashboard. Okay. So what is business intelligence? So let's take a very easy example of a supply chain. Okay. So suppose there is an industry, okay, and those industry has 3 warehouses. Okay. So Stuttgart, Berlin, and Hamburg, they have 3 warehouses. Okay. And these are the manager of this company. Let's say the name of the company is any pharma company. Let's say Bayer. So Bayer is the name of the company. So the Bayer company has 3 warehouses in the Stuttgart, Berlin, and Hamburg. They have 3 warehouses, and they want to know that what has happened in these warehouses and what will happen in these warehouses. Okay, so there's a finance manager. Okay, these are sales manager, and they would like to know that what will happen these warehouses and what will happen in the future at these warehouses. Okay, so these are the managers. They would like to know what will happen and what has happened. Now, one thing is they directly go to the warehouse, okay, and look at the data and can understand. But that is not feasible, right? To go at the 3 different city and just looking at the data, because the data is huge. Because every day there is a huge amount of data is being done. So this is not the very viable way that they can go there and read the data. So what can be done otherwise? Otherwise, what can be done? They appoint 2 persons. One is data scientist and one is data analyst. Okay. So what these managers are doing, they appoint data analyst and data scientist. Now, what these data analyst and data scientists are doing, they are getting the data from these warehouses. Okay, data analyst are also getting the data. Data scientist is also getting the data from these warehouses. After getting the data, this data analyst cleaning the data, connecting the data means making the data models and aggregating the data. Okay, what is the aggregation of the data? We'll look. Okay, in the table further in this slides. So data analyst means they are understanding the data. Eventually, they are finding out that what had happened. In the analytics, this is required. By the way, do you know what are the 4 types of analytics? So, because we are coming here on the data analysis, that's why I'm asking. You know what are the 4 types of analytics?
Forensic analysis, real-time analysis.
Descriptive, yeah, predictive, descriptive. So, Umesh correctly pointed out. Predictive, prescriptive, and देखिए there are 4 types of analytics. Okay? जब भी कोई डेटा एनालिस्ट है, आपने नाम सुना है एसक्यूएल सॉफ्टवेयर का, एसक्यूएल, मायएसक्यूएल, एडब्ल्यूएस, एसएपी, just need the diagnostic. Are you familiar with the software? SAP HANA, ठीक है, SQL, Snowflake, ठीक है, Data One. So all of these are the softwares where data is being stored. Okay. So all of those data, अब ये if these are the 3 warehouses, so in warehouse में data का storage. This data is being stored in this SAP or the Snowflake at this kind of platforms. Okay. Now, what is the role of the data analyst? There are basically 4 types of analytics. Okay. The first is diagnostic analytics. Okay. Second is descriptive analytics. Third is predictive analytics, and fourth is prescriptive analytics. Okay. So what is the role of the data analyst? Data analyst is mainly concerned with the diagnostic and descriptive analytics. Now, what does diagnostics में आपको चारों analytics का मतलब बता रहा हूँ पहले. So diagnostic means, let's take an example. आप एक डॉक्टर के पास जाते हैं, ठीक है? So whenever you go to the doctor, what is the step number? He diagnose करता है सबसे पहले. How they do diagnose? They ask you multiple questions and they send you for some test. Okay, so that is called the diagnosis. सबसे पहले they diagnose. After the diagnosis, they describe. Okay, that okay, you have this this health issue, the blood sugar level is less or up or high, whatever it is. So the step number 2 is descriptive. They describe. Okay. Then what is the step number 3? They predict that what can be happen in the future, right? And then what is the step number 4 is the prescribe, that okay, what can be done, what surgery can be done, is surgery required or not required. So these are the 4 steps: diagnostic, description, predictive and prescription. ये चारों steps analytics में भी होते हैं. For example, suppose there is a growth in the sales of a product in the market. Okay, you have a product, maybe your product is umbrella. You are an umbrella manufacturing company. Then suppose the sale of the umbrella is increased suddenly in your industry. So what will be the diagnostic analytics? Can anyone please tell me? Tell me. Suppose in your industry suddenly the sales of the umbrella increases. What could be the reason? Rainy season. So that is called the description. The first thing is diagnostic. Diagnostic means what happened, finding out what happened. So you dig out and you find out, okay, with what rate the sale of the umbrella is increased. Maybe in the last month the rate was 100 umbrella per month. In this month, okay, the rate is 200 umbrella per month. Okay, so this is diagnostic. You find out, okay, suddenly the sale of the umbrella increases. Then comes the diagnostic के बाद आता है descriptive. Okay, सॉरी मैं उल्टा बोल रहा हूँ. फर्स्ट इज डिस्क्रिप्टिव, जहाँ पे आपने पता किया. डिस्क्रिप्टिव मींस दैट व्हाट हैपेंड, sales increases. Then comes the diagnostic. In the diagnostic you will find out why the sale increase, and you eventually find out because of the rain. Okay, so because there is a sudden rain which is not expected in this month, but suddenly because of the heavy rain the sale of the umbrella increases. Okay, then comes the predictive analytics. Okay, if the sale of the umbrella increases, is the sale will going to increase in the future again? So what you will see, is there any forecast of the future rain also? If yes, then you will prescribe accordingly, otherwise you will prescribe accordingly, right? So what you are doing here, you are looking the past data, that okay, is that happened in the past also? Past में भी कभी इतना sales एकदम से abruptly बढ़ा था क्या? And based on that analysis, will the sales increase in the next month also? If yes, you will prescribe that okay, order more umbrella. If no, then you will prescribe that okay, do not purchase more umbrella. This is only one time. So that is called the prescriptive analytics. Okay. So diagnostic and descriptive analytics are usually done by the data analyst using the data cleaning, data modeling, aggregation of the data using MySQL, SAP, etc. The software. Okay. And similarly, that predictive analytics and prescriptive analytics is done by the data scientist with the help of data modeling, machine learning, and data modeling. Okay. So they do the predictive and prescriptive analytics. They do the diagnostic and descriptive analytics. In some industry, maybe the both are the same person. In some industry, they both can be the different person. But now they did some analysis. They prepared some Excel reports, but they cannot directly show those Excel reports to the manager. Right? They cannot directly go and show those Excel reports to the manager. Why? Because manager will not understand. Manager is looking at the 1,000 things and he will not understand the simple data. So what is required? So at that time, to give the right picture to the exact picture to the manager, a dashboard is required. So this data analyst will make a dashboard, and this data scientist will make a dashboard, and then those dashboards will be explained to the manager. So and while explaining those visualization to the managers, there are multiple what if scenario has been happening. If this happen, what will happen? If the rain will be more, what will happen? If the rain will not be more, what will happen? Okay. If the rain will be less, what will be happen? So these kind of scenarios will be there, and those scenarios is called the business intelligence. So basically, these managers are more interested to understand that what has happened in the future and what will happen in the future, and to know that data visualization is very much important. Okay, and with the help of data visualization, one can do the business intelligence. So this is called the business intelligence. I hope it is clear to everyone. Okay. So this is a bit about the business intelligence. Okay. Now we'll go more deep into the, I would say, the table. So I'm taking the break, 15-minute break. So we'll start again at 45. Okay, or maybe 20-minute break. Okay, 15-20 minute break. Whenever you all are back again, I'll start. So right now I'm taking 45-minute break, but we can take 20 minutes also if required. Okay. So Shino, you may pause the recording. Okay. So after the break, we'll back again. Okay. So it's 30. Okay. Let's back again on 50. So okay. So it's 30. Let's click again on the 50, and then we'll start again. Okay. And meanwhile, those who haven't downloaded the software, please download the software.